Lyra's world was quieter than most, except for the voices no one else heard. They came in the still of night, carried on the wind, whispering through the cracks in the orphanage walls. Not words, exactly. Just echoes. Grief, urgency, sometimes laughter so cold it made her bones tighten. The village of Eridel said she was cursed. That the daughter of Solori, the woman who vanished after the Great Fire, had brought something back with her. Something from Amahra. No one said the name aloud anymore. Not since the ground swallowed the city whole. Lira, 17 and always barefoot, wandered past the fence of the orphanage one dusk when the whispers turned sharp, urgent, like someone screaming in a language only her bones remembered. Follow the wind. She turned. The old forest behind the chapel trembled like it was breathing. She ran. Branches clawed at her arms. Shadows lunged. But the whisper didn't stop. And then, she found it. A tomb. Buried beneath moss, wrapped in twisted vines. On its surface, engraved in fading silver. Solori Vera, daughter. Healer. Traitor. Lira stumbled back. Her breath caught. Her mother was buried here? No. That couldn't be. There had been no funeral. No body. She dropped to her knees, scraped away the moss, and pried the lid open. There were no bones inside. Only a silver mask. And beneath it, a folded letter sealed with black wax. Oh. Lira hesitated before touching the mask. It shimmered faintly, like moonlight had been poured over metal. The design was ancient, spiraling symbols, unreadable yet somehow familiar. At its center, the crest of Amahra. A mark erased from history. She reached for it. Don't. The whisper snapped through her head like a thunderclap. She gasped and fell backward. The mask pulsed once. Then silence. Trembling, she grabbed the letter instead, broke the wax, and unfolded it. Lira, if you're reading this, they've lied to you. Amahra isn't dead. And neither am I. The day I disappeared, I didn't run. I was taken. Find the place where roots drink fire. That's where I left the truth. Burn this letter. They cannot know. S. Lira stared at the mask again. Her hand twitched. Something deep within her whispered not fear, but familiarity. She reached out. As soon as her fingers brushed the metal, her vision shattered. She was standing in a city with no sky. Black stone buildings rose around her. Flames danced in the streets but cast no heat. People walked silently, their mouths sewn shut. And above it all, a palace floated midair, bleeding from its towers. Then the mask burned her palm. She dropped it with a scream. Back at the orphanage, Lira sat by the fire, shaking. The mask was hidden beneath the floorboards in her room. She hadn't told anyone, not the matron, not the village guards, not even Daro, the only friend she had. She whispered to him that night. Daro, do you remember the stories? About Amahra? He blinked at her through the candlelight. You shouldn't say that name. But why? What if it's real? What if it's still there? It's cursed, he said quickly. Everyone knows. It vanished because it disobeyed the gods. My mother said it sunk because the queen tried to raise the dead. Lyra's blood went cold. Do you believe that? He hesitated. I don't know what I believe. But I know people who ask too many questions in Eridel end up missing. Lira pressed her lips shut. She had too many questions. Later that night, she couldn't sleep. She snuck into the village's archive, a dusty, locked-up building that no one visited anymore. She tore through crumbling books until she found it, an old, banned volume called The Silver Lineage. Flipping through, she saw a name. Solori Vera, High Physician to the Queen of Amahra. Declared lost after the collapse. Not dead. Lost. And right beside it, a faded illustration of a baby in her arms. Oh. Lira returned to the tomb at dawn. The forest was still. The mask felt heavier now, like it knew something had changed. She sat by the tombstone, pulled out the letter again, and read it over and over. Roots drink fire. It clicked. She remembered the old lava vents beyond the southern ridge, dead for years, but their twisted tree roots still glowed faintly red. She ran. Hours passed. Her feet bled. Her lungs burned. But eventually, she found it. A stone altar, buried beneath fire-burned roots. Carved into its surface, a riddle. To open the path, speak the name they fear. Lira hesitated. Her lips parted. Amahra. The ground shuddered. The altar split down the middle. A stairway appeared, leading down into blackness. She took one step. Then another. And then she was gone. The descent was long. The air was hot and heavy. Whispers slithered through the tunnel walls. At the bottom, a door. It opened on its own. Lira stepped into a room that shouldn't exist. Stone walls pulsed with emberlight. Floating runes danced across the ceiling. And in the center, desks, chalkboards, rows of books, a classroom. But everyone sitting there was dead. At least, they looked dead, pale skin, white eyes, unmoving. And yet, they turned to look at her. One girl stood up. She looked no older than Lira. You're late. Lira stepped back. What is this place? The girl tilted her head. You really don't know? No. This is the School of the Silent Flame. You were supposed to arrive years ago. But I'm not. You wear the mask, the girl interrupted. That means you've been chosen. Or claimed. Which is it? Lira didn't know how to answer. The girl's eyes narrowed. Let me guess. Your mother didn't tell you the truth. She's gone. No, the girl said. She's not. And if you're here, it means she's in trouble. Or dead again. A bell tolled overhead, deep and thunderous. The room flickered. Suddenly, everything froze. Even the flames stopped moving. Lira turned, heart pounding. The mask in her bag was glowing. Then a voice echoed across the walls, deep and impossible to place. Welcome back, Lira. When the glow faded, Lira stood alone in a vast cavern, and above her, no stars, just an endless ceiling of black stone and glowing veins of molten orange. She had arrived. Amahra. The lost city. Buildings of obsidian and bone spiraled upward, stacked like layered ruins. Bridges of glass stretched from tower to tower, suspended in silence. Blue fire flickered in suspended lanterns, but not a sound could be heard. No footsteps. No wind. No breath. Lira whispered, "Hello." A whisper came back. "Hello. Lira." She spun. Nothing. Then, movement. In the corner of her eye, she saw it, a figure ducking into the shadows. Then another. Then 6. Lira backed into a stone pillar. "You're not supposed to be here," said a voice behind her. She turned, fast, and found herself staring into the eyes of a girl with silver pupils and glowing tattoos on her cheeks. "Who are you?" Lira asked, breathing hard. "That depends. Who are you?" "My name is Lira." "That's not what the city thinks." Lira's chest tightened. "The city?" "Amahra," the girl said softly. "It remembers you. Even if you don't remember it." The other figures stepped out of the dark, teens her age or younger. All of them wore strange pieces of armor, as if cobbled together from ruins. Their eyes glowed faintly. "What is this place?" "Home," said the silver-eyed girl. "For the forgotten." "Oh." They called themselves the Riftborn. Children of the lost. Descendants of Amahra's exiled bloodlines. Survivors who'd found their way back through whispers, dreams, or magic gone wrong. They took her through the city's remains, past collapsed temples, shattered statues, and frozen fountains with water that ran upward. One boy, named Ren, touched a floating shard of obsidian and it lit up with a memory, Amahra's queen standing on a balcony, her hand raised to the stars. Lira stopped. The queen's face, it was hers. "That's not possible," she whispered. The silver-eyed girl, whose name was Myra, looked over. "You don't remember what you are, do you?" "What I am?" Myra nodded. "You're not just your mother's daughter. You're Lira's echo." "Lira was the queen," Lira replied. "She is the queen," said Ren. "Time works differently here." Myra stepped closer. "You were born with her spirit. Her voice. Her gift." Lira stumbled back. "No. I'm not a queen. I'm not her. Myra's voice dropped. Then why is the mask speaking again after 17 years? Lira didn't answer. She couldn't. That night, Lira sat in the Hall of Whispers, an old amphitheater carved into the cavern wall. Flames hovered in midair. The other Riftborn whispered to each other, eyes always on her. She pulled the mask from her bag. It glowed faintly, humming with heat. What are you? She asked it. The flame beside her flickered, and a voice answered. I am memory. I am blood. I am your silence. She froze. Are you? Lira? I am what's left of her. I am what remains after fire forgets the forest it burned. Images filled Lira's head, a kingdom in rebellion, a queen alone, a betrayal that tore magic from the world. What happened to Amahra? The gods punished us. Or so they claimed. They feared what we had become. So they buried us. Erased us. Lira whispered, and my mother. The mask pulsed. She was the last loyal hand. She gave you to the wind to protect what was left. But they found her. They silenced her. Until now. Suddenly, Lira felt the mask's edges biting into her hands. It wanted to be worn. It wanted her. She hesitated, then pressed it to her face. In an instant, flames. Oh. When Lira awoke, the hall was silent. Everyone stared. She was still wearing the mask, but now it shimmered with silver veins, like it had awakened. And at her feet was a body. Ren. Dead. His skin marked with the crest of Amahra, seared into his neck, the same crest as the mask. What did you do? Myra screamed. I don't know. Lira backed away, heart hammering. I just put it on, he was alive, I swear. The others moved in. You summoned something, said a boy. You let it in. I didn't mean to. He trusted you. Myra's voice broke. We all did. The mask. The mask is death. Myra shouted. It's what cursed us in the first place. Before they could react further, a new sound echoed above. The tower bell. It hadn't rung in 17 years. Now, it rang once. Then twice. Then 12 times. No, Myra whispered. Someone's breached the gate. Lira looked up. The city was no longer silent. The Ash King had awakened. The Riftborn tied Lira's hands. Myra stood over her, grief hardening her face. Ren was my brother. I'm sorry, Lira said quietly. But I swear I didn't kill him. The city thinks otherwise, Myra said. There's only one way to prove you're not a weapon. What way? The trials. The room fell quiet. 3 paths, Myra continued. Stone, silence, and memory. Complete them, or be exiled. Or worse. They marched Lira into a chamber beneath the city's heart, a place carved from obsidian and pain. First trial, stone. Lira faced a golem of black rock, its eyes burning blue. It raised a hammer taller than she was. A voice whispered, strength is not always in the fist. She remembered her mother's lullaby, the stone that sings is stronger than the blade. She sang. The golem froze. Cracked. Then bowed. She passed. Second trial, silence. A room of mirrors. 1,000 versions of herself, all screaming, but no sound. A parchment hovered in front of her. Speak and lose. Stay silent and see. Time passed. Her lips bled from biting. Finally, the mirrors vanished, leaving behind a single phrase. You were never alone. Third trial, memory. She stood in a throne room, fire all around. Lira screamed. The Ash King stood before her, blade raised. Solori, Lira's mother, knelt with the infant Lira in her arms. You have to take her, Lira begged. But if I leave, you'll die. If you don't, we all die. Solori fled into a portal. Lira turned, and was impaled. The memory ended. Lira collapsed to her knees. I'm her. And you're not her, a voice said. She looked up. Myra stood there. You passed. Oh. Lira stood in the ruins of the trial chamber, her breath ragged, her eyes wet. The memory still burned behind her eyelids, her mother fleeing with infant Lira, the queen falling, the betrayal of everything sacred. Myra stepped forward, untying her wrists. "You passed," she said quietly. "But not because you survived. Because you remembered." Lira swallowed. "That was real. As real as anything here. Memory is a weapon. It's how Amahra fights back." A glowing sigil shimmered on the ground beneath her feet. The city stirred, walls pulsing with light, ancient gears turning far below. "You've awakened something," Myra whispered. Suddenly, the air around Lira thickened. A deep vibration rose from beneath the stone. Every riftborn stopped moving. Their heads slowly turned. "It's speaking again," one murmured. "The city." A voice filled Lyra's mind, deeper than thought, ancient and echoing. "She has returned. The bearer of flame and fracture. Lira reborn." Lira dropped to her knees. "No," she said aloud. "I'm not her. I'm me." But the voice answered, "Then become both, or we are lost." Back in Eridel, the surface world trembled. Black vines grew through cracks in stone. Shadows moved without wind. A council of cloaked figures gathered beneath the village chapel, the same leaders who had raised Lira in the orphanage. Among them was Matron Elsha, face pinched, eyes glassy with fear. "The seal has broken," one whispered. "Amahra breathes again." "We swore it would never rise," another hissed. "And yet, the girl went below." Elsha slammed her hand on the table. "Then we should have killed her when she first heard the whispers." "We made a pact," a priest said softly. "With devils," Elsha snapped. "And now they want her back." She looked down at the center of the table, a map marked with the ash crest, a burnt, scorched brand. "Send word to the Ash King," she said. "We give him what he wants. The girl. In exchange for protection." "And if he says no?" Elsha's eyes narrowed. "Then burn the valley." "Oh." Lira couldn't sleep. The city buzzed beneath her feet, alive, almost nervous. She stared at the mask by her side, now glowing steadily, and whispered, "Who is the Ash King?" Myra answered from the shadows. "He was once the queen's right hand. A general. A guardian." "What happened?" "He tried to save Amahra, by breaking it." Myra sat beside her. "When the gods turned against us, Lira tried to find peace. But the Ash King, he believed power was the only answer. He opened the rift. Invited shadows that should have stayed dead. And now? Now he's barely a man. Just hate and smoke in a cage of bone. But the worst part? What? He still believes he's saving us." Meanwhile, in the ruined outer halls, ash rained from the ceiling. A black throne rose from cracked earth. And from it, the Ash King emerged, armor scorched, hair like coals, eyes like pits of burning truth. "She returns," he whispered. "The girl who once chose love over war." A soldier knelt before him, trembling. "We found her, my king. She bears the mask." The Ash King raised a hand. "Then we are done waiting." He turned to the burning map of Amahra. "Break the gates. Bring her to me." The Riftborn held a secret. Beyond the caverns, past the molten river, lay a sealed ruin, the city of Devura, a former outpost of the Amahri elite, now poisoned by flame. "We can't go there," Myra said. "It's death." "Then it's where I need to be," Lira replied. "Why?" "Because the voice said it holds the last blade forged by Lira." "The widow's blade." Myra's face darkened. "It's not a weapon. It's a curse." "Then it's perfect for me." They argued until dawn. But by morning, Myra agreed. Lira, Myra, and two others, Sen and Elric, set out toward Devura. The path was hell, collapsing tunnels, magma rains, whispering voices that made Sen scream. But when they finally arrived, they stood before a stone colosseum, glowing with blue fire. Inside, the widow's blade hovered in midair, suspended above a stone altar. A voice echoed through the chamber. "To claim the blade, you must trade what you love most." Myra stepped back. "This is madness." It's truth, Lira said. She stepped forward. What do I give? She asked. Your bond. One soul, broken. Lira's vision spun. She stood in a memory again, this time, holding hands with Daro, her oldest friend, smiling. The image twisted. Daro was bleeding. Screaming her name. She could feel their connection. The warmth. The love. No, she whispered. Not him. Then you cannot wield the blade. Myra grabbed her shoulder. Lira, you don't have to. I do. She touched the altar. Pain ripped through her chest, like a string being yanked from her heart. Far away, in Eridel, Daro collapsed, gasping. The connection was gone. The blade fell into her hands. Cold. And alive. Oh. The blade shimmered, black steel with veins of gold. Its hilt pulsed with energy. Its edge whispered. Myra watched in horror. What did it take from you? A bond, Lira said, tears streaming. A person I loved. Who will now never know me again. The blade spoke in her mind. You have paid. Now wield me. Back in Amahra, the city screamed. Flames erupted from the lower gates. The Ash King's army poured in, wraiths in armor, smoke beasts, and fallen Riftborn turned traitor. The war had begun. Lira raced back with the others, sword in hand. They arrived to find half the city burning. Bodies in the streets. Screams in every corridor. And at the center, standing atop the broken gates. The Ash King. He turned, slow and smiling. Welcome home, daughter. Lira raised the blade. I'm not your daughter. No. But you're hers. And that's enough. He raised his arm, and the shadows lunged. The battle tore through Amahra. Smoke veiled the streets. Fire rained from broken towers. Screams echoed in the old corridors as the Ash King's forces crushed their way toward the throne hall, toward Lira. She moved like lightning through the rubble, the widow's blade in hand, cutting through smoke beasts and fallen Riftborn with deadly precision. But every soul she struck, whispered. Each voice murmured her name. Lira. The blade was hungry. And Lira was beginning to wonder how much of her was still herself. She collapsed behind a shattered pillar, blood on her hands, breath ragged. Myra crouched beside her. You're pushing too far. You're burning up. If I stop, we lose, Lira spat, gripping the blade tighter. A shadow passed over them. Kale, once a Riftborn, now cursed and broken, stood before them. His armor was cracked, eyes glowing faintly, mouth trembling. You shouldn't have come back, he said. You're fighting for him now? Lira asked. I'm not fighting, he replied. I'm trying to save what little of us is left. Lira stood. Then help me. End this. Kale looked away. There's only one way to end it, he said. And you won't like it. Try me. He's bound to you, Kale said. Not just by blood. By soul. If you kill him, you'll die too. Silence. Myra froze. Lira blinked, then laughed softly, a laugh full of fear. That's not true. It is, Kale said. You were born with the seal. Your mother tried to break it. She failed. The curse binds you both. Then I'll change the curse, Lira whispered. I'll rewrite it. Kale looked at her, the girl he had once protected, and saw the fire of a queen. Then may the gods forgive you. They gathered in the throne hall, what remained of it. Broken pillars. Smashed stained glass. The floating throne cracked in half, hovering just above the flame-stained floor. The Ash King waited at its base, calm as the grave. He held Solori's mask in one hand. Lira stepped through the shattered doors, her eyes locked on him. I've come to end this, she said. So have I, he replied. You used to protect Amahra. I still do, he said. Even now. By destroying it. By purging its weakness, he said. And you are its final fracture. Lira gripped the widow's blade. Then break me. They collided like thunder. The throne hall exploded in light and darkness, fire and ash. Lira's blade struck his flame sword again and again. The sound tore through the sky above Amahra. Every clash screamed with history, with memory. You think you're her? The Ash King snarled mid-strike. Lira was a fool. She hesitated. She loved. Then I am her, Lira shouted. And I'll die for what I love. She ducked a slash, rolled beneath him, and slashed across his back. He roared, spinning, burning the air with heat, and Lira felt it. The tether. A chain of energy running between them. Blood to blood. Soul to soul. The city cracked beneath their feet. Amahra and the surviving Riftborn watched from afar, helpless. And then, the Ash King struck a blow directly to Lira's chest. She flew across the throne room, crashing into a column. The blade tumbled from her hands. He advanced. No more games, he said. Let the curse fulfill itself. But Lira, coughing blood, smiled. No, she whispered. Let me fulfill it. She reached into her own chest, into the seal that pulsed beneath her ribcage, and tore it open. Light poured from her. The Ash King staggered. What are you doing? I'm rewriting the story, she said. Not with a blade, but with truth. Outside, the armies froze. The hollow gate, once sealed, cracked wide open. And from within, light. The curse was unraveling. Lira's light stretched across Amahra like a wave, burning through the Ash King's shadows, lifting the veils of memory from the people, the buildings, the land itself. Inside the hall, the Ash King dropped to one knee. You fool, you've doomed us both. No, Lira said. I've set us free. She raised her hand. The blade flew to her. One final strike, not to kill, but to sever. She drove the blade into the floor, not him. And the curse screamed. The tether snapped. The Ash King's armor shattered. He fell back, coughing smoke, and for a moment, he looked human. Old. Tired. Tears welled in his eyes. She would have been proud of you, he whispered. I know, Lira said. Now rest. His body turned to ash. The throne shattered. And silence returned to Amahra. The battle was over. The Riftborn wandered the city in awe, memory restored, curses lifted. The buildings reshaped themselves, windows glowing, walls mending, fire replaced by light. Lira stood at the heart of it all, the blade in one hand, her other wrapped in bandages. Amahra approached. They want to crown you. No, Lira said. Why not? Because the last queen started a war to protect a throne, she said. I started a war to destroy it. She walked to the floating throne, now cracked and empty, and with a deep breath, lifted the widow's blade. And shattered the throne with it. It collapsed in a flash of silver and flame. No more queens, Lira said. No more curses. Let them lead themselves. What about you? Amahra asked. I'm done being someone else's echo. She turned to the Riftborn. Amahra lives because of all of you. Not just me. They bowed. Lira didn't stop them. But she didn't join them either. She turned and walked away. Oh. Weeks passed. Amahra rebuilt itself, half by magic, half by will. The Riftborn formed a council. Amahra became its voice. The curse was studied, understood, and sealed forever. As for Lira, she vanished. Some said she returned to the surface. Others said she became a ghost, watching over the ruins. But Amahra kept the real story. She found a letter, pinned to the city gate. To Amahra, and to Amahra. I was never meant to wear a crown. Only to carry its weight long enough to let it go. I gave up everything to free this place. And I'd do it again. Tell Durrow I'm sorry, he won't remember me, but I'll remember him. Tell Kale, he was wrong. Love doesn't make us weak. It gives us the strength to break impossible chains. If you ever hear whispers in the wind, tell them I'm listening. Lira. Far beyond the ruins, a girl walked the mountains alone. No blade. No title. Just a smile. And when the wind picked up, she closed her eyes and whispered back. Amahra. I remember.